And we're back. And we're back. She was going to show worth of ZoomShteig 193, 193. Okay. Maseches Beitza, Dav Beis, Amud Aleph. Discuss the soldiers and discuss the captives. So I said Beis Amud Aleph, but people that are following at home be like, wait a second, didn't we get down to the bottom or even the top of Gimel Amud Aleph yesterday? So why am I saying Beis Amud Aleph? The reason is because we have some tastes in that we have not done, and before really people get here, so far it's just me and the Rebbitzin and the phone. So I'm gonna do a toast post with the crew before people come, and if they don't come, so then we'll just see some tastes in today and see some Ian, and business is huge. Okay, so the first toast post that we haven't done yet is Tosfos Dibur Masil Kasal Gedaita that we actually thought Salka means to go up, to occur to you, to go up on your mind. Kasal Gedaita, we thought that Afiluman Deshari Muksub Nolat Aser. So the reason now we asked the question, wait a second, what could we be dealing with? Are we talking about a chicken that is Omedes Lachila? Or are we talking about a chicken that is Omedes to give eggs? And we said, wait a second, then why would Beit Shammai say that it's mutter if it's talking about a chicken that is Omedes Ligado Beitzim? If you're talking about a chicken that is Omedes Ligado Beitzim to grow eggs, so then what would the reason of Beit Shammai be? It would be muksa. So we say, well, wait a second. My kasha, what's the question? Dilma Beit Shammai leislu muksa. So maybe Beit Shammai doesn't have muksa. So what's the question? So then the Gemara says, Kasal Gedaita. No. The reason that we had the question is because we thought that even someone who says that we don't have muksa, but still they have nolad. They have that thing can't be born. They don't have muksa in the classical Rabbi Yehuda sense that everything is muksa unless you say you're going to use it for Shabbos. You set it aside for Yantiv. We're talking about Yantiv. You say you're setting it aside. I'm going to have this chicken, I'm going to have this food. So he doesn't have that muksa, but still maybe he would have the nolad or the egg which is born in Yantiv, so that maybe he would say that's not good. We thought that even someone who says that it's permissible in muksa is by nolad, so this four would be usher. Duck Tosfos, everything. Do you want the Gemara? We're doing a Tosfos. Oh, Ziggy Salvage!
Long time no steig.
Long time no steig. Shkayach on the amazing Siyam today. Unbelievable. It's such a schuz that we're able to have such siyat d'shmaya. Can I have a lighter if it's around anywhere? I need a light to see the Gemara, of course. My sweet love. Okay.
Thank you again for that opportunity to do that tremendous mitzvah.
Bro, it was such teamwork made the dream work. And it was such a schus. And now we're going to learn some sweet, sweet Tosfos together. So we thought that even someone who says that there's no muksa, he doesn't believe in muksa, but if something's born on Yantiv, that's usher. That's what we thought. And so Tosfos says, the lo makti inish my dechazile. A person is not going to put aside that I'm not going to use this on Yantiv. what is available to use. He's not going to be like, oh, I'm not going to use that chicken. This is a chicken to have eggs. This is a chicken to have eggs. I'm not going to use such a chicken. A person is not going to have that intention, right? Okay, fine. So he doesn't. He sees it. He wants to use it. It's for eggs, but like he knows that like if I have more guests, I'll just shech the egg chicken and figure out eggs later. Aval, but says Tosfos, the nolad, when it's something that's born on Yontif, the egg, lo have yada me esmol, he didn't know from yesterday that there was going to be an egg. So it's like a stronger type of muksa. Even someone who doesn't have muksa regularly, even if I thought that this chicken was going to be for eggs, that was my main thought, but he doesn't hold that. I wouldn't hold that as muksa, but still something that I didn't even know was going to be born. That's a different story. And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back. Yeshiva School Show. We're doing a taste fest right now. And we're talking about the difference between nolad and regular muksa. The Gemara had a havamina that even Beis Shammai, even if he doesn't hold muksa, but still nolad, he's going to say is no good because there he didn't know that it was going to even exist at all. Vitema, and it's a wonder. Rabbi Shimon Shari b'muksa, Shari b'nolad. Why would we think that nolad would be more machmir, more intent, more stringent? Rabbi Shimon says that muksa is permissible, and also nolad kidarina b'Shabbos, like it says in Shabbos. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda says, Rabbi Yehuda, the guy who says muksa, the guy we have to thank for all those spankings, because like we accidentally touched money. I don't know. Like the Shabbos, Rabbi Yehuda says that we can't light with a broken kli, the broken vessel. We can't use that for fire. Rabbi Shimon is matir. Rabbi Shimon said it's okay. Abagav Navi nolad, even though it's nolad. So why would I even think that Beis Shammai would say muksa, not permissible, but nolad, the egg that's born us, or why would they even think that? The Ish Lomar says so you can come say the low dummy, the high nolad, the hacha, no, different nolad. The hacha havi nolad say it's even more nolad. Shemitachila from the beginning, lo hayisa ba'olam, it didn't exist. Aval hasa, but over there the vessel had kli hayav ba'olam, it existed. Raksha nishpar, but it broke. But the vessel, even though this vessel broke, but it still existed. But the egg didn't exist yesterday, and that's the difference, as Tosfos. The good spar, right? A good chilik. V'chein mash manami be'erevin, and it also says like this in Erevin, benolad. Oh wait, be'erevin. It says like this: Maya be'iya be'iva mivla bli. We just said an amazing chakira difference between two different types of nolad, between an egg which mamish didn't even exist yesterday, and the vessel which existed yesterday, but it just was in the form of vessel, and so it didn't have like the pieces. What? Oh, no problem. You can hear me now? All right, great. You're taking the Gemara, Gavaldik. Okay. Listen. Steiging da. Okay. So now is a sugya that I think the Rebbetzin is super gonna love. And this is the sugya, Gemara in Erevin. It talks about water in a cloud. You like it? Water in a cloud? The Rebbetzin over here. So water in a cloud, right? So the Gemara says that Maya Be'iva, water in a cloud, is Nivla Beli'i. It's like this is in Tosfos. It's swallowed into the cloud. Viparich, and we ask Kosher Gain to Havi Nolad. So then water, how can you drink water that falls on Shabbos? Nolad. Didn't exist, it's like the egg. How could you touch it on Shabbos? TVJ, you hear the kasha, Zalman? You hear the kasha? How could you drink water that falls on Shabbos? It's nolad. It's something that's born. It's like the egg. It's like the vessel that breaks. You can't, according to Rabbi Yehuda, you can't go and use that vessel now to make a fire. I got this because it's nolad. It didn't exist as a shard. But so then how do we drink the cloud water? So he says it should be Azar. R'mai Baruch, what's the kadra? The Dilma Hahu Rabbi Shimon. What do you mean? Why the Gemara asking, oh, how could you drink rainwater if it's like if the rain is in the cloud? How could you drink rainwater, but it's no live? What's the question? Rabbi Shimon says no live mutter. Like, what's the big deal? So just say he holds like Rabbi Shimon. The Rabbi Shimon matir v'nolad. Rabbi Shimon says matir nolad. Ela vadai. Rather, you have to say it's very clear. Certainly, hainu taima kitaprecious. The reasons, like we explained, the kevan de belii lo havi klal beolam. Since the water is swallowed up into the cloud, it doesn't exist at all in the world. And even Rabbi Shimon would agree that in such a case where it didn't exist the day before, it would be usher. Yeah, Rabbi Shimon says that it's mutter to use the vessel that broke, to use the shards to make a fire on Yantef, because the shards existed. Okay, they didn't exist in their shard form. They existed as a real full vessel, but still the shard existed. Rabbi Shimon was like, all right, I don't have no lot over there. But by the cloud, Rabbi Shimon did have no lot. By the egg also, even in the Havamina, we had a Havamina to think that maybe Beis Hillel, maybe Beis Shammai, even though he says that there's no book, so he would still hold of no lot. Right? That it still makes sense to have such a Havamina. That was the question that Tosfos was asking and answering. Okay, Shkaya. So we talked about, wait a second, does Rabbi Nachman really say that Beis Hillel is like Rabbi Yehuda and Beis Shammai is like Rabbi Shimon? But what about this Gemara that talks about in Shabbos moving, right? That Beis Shammai says you can take the bones and the shells off of the table, right? The Mishnah says that you can take. Beis Shammai says you can take the shells and the bones, and Beis Hillel says no. You to move the table and shake the table. You can't just pick them up. And Reb Nachman says that we don't have except the Beis Shammai like Rabbi Yehuda and Beis Hillel is like Rabbi Shimon. So you say, well, it's a stira, it's a contradiction. Rabbi Nachman, didn't Rabbi Nachman just tell me that Beis Hillel was like Rabbi Yehuda and Beis Shammai was like Rabbi Shimon? And so the Gemara answered, no, it's not a question. That was Shabbos, that was Yontif. If Shabbos is so machmir, then we can say the Makel opinion. By Yontif, that it's like it's not as machmir, so people may come to like, if you make one thing mutter, then they'll just keep on making everything mutter, so we shut it off. So there's a Tosfos about picking up, right? Picking up the bones. So he says, Perisha Kunturas, which is Rashi. Tosfos calls Rashi the Kunturas. And it says that Rashi explains over there in the Gemara in Shabbos on Dav Kuf Mem Gimel Amid Aleph, the Rashi explains, Avagav the Ein Ru'ui and Lolu Maicho Adam the Lolu Maicho Behema. This is so beautiful, you guys. Such a beautiful Tosfos that we're learning now. Tosfos' question, Tosfos is bringing Rashi. The Rashi that's in Shabbos. And Tosfos is saying like this. Rashi explains that we're talking about a bone and a shell. We're talking about bones and shells that cannot be eaten, not by a human and not by even by an animal. Lo l'meichel adam v'lo l'meichel behema. V'lo nehira. It's not clear. Deha'iga b'seiba, because it says at the end of the Gemara, v'shar shel afunim v'shar shel adashim. So that's like like those strands, I think, that grow with peas. You know, like the pea strand grows like in a building board. Like sometimes you have a pea, and like it has like that like strand. Zalman for sure knows what we're talking about. It's like you have like a pea, and then like you have like that strand coming out of the peas. I think that's what's talking about, the hair of the pea, the hair of the like the green bean. That's what I'm trying to say. The bean. And so it talks about that. So it talks about that in that Mishnah or Beitza or Gemara in Shabbos over there. We don't have a full. We're still not in full form of having like all the Sfarim and giving share for like 4 hours and being able to go in and go the Sfarim. So I can't go into this Gemara right now in Shabbos, but he says that in that same Gemara over there on Shabbos, on Daf Kuf Mem Gimel, and it talks about picking up from on the shulchan on the bones, and Beis Hillel have a different method of how you do it. It later on talks about a certain thing in the vegetable that is applicable, is able to be eaten. Oh, and we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back. We're on Tosfos right now. And so Tosfos quotes the Rashi in Shabbos, Masechah Shabbos, and Rashi explains that it's talking about the bones and talking about the shells that you take that Beis Shammai Beis Hillel argue about how you remove them from the table. Rashi says we're talking about something that is not, these are shells and bones not edible by humans, not edible by animals. So it says, but in the end of the Gemara, of the Mishnah, or the Gemara, or the Maimer, or whatever it is over there, it's talking about something specifically that is able to be eaten by an animal. Lekach nira lomar. Therefore, it seems to say shehein re'uyin l'meichel behema. So these are bones, and these are shells that are edible for an animal. To go on atzamos rachin, like soft bones, like cats like sometimes eat soft bones or something. V'kli beit abuchin, and apple shells, like the shells, but they're edible. The Beis Hillel holds kevan delo chazi l'meichel adam lo. Beis Hillel says no, you can't. You have to shake the table because they're not applicable even for the meichel adam, even for the person to eat. And Beis Hillel says therefore it's muksa. Beis Shammai says no, only and Beis Shammai says no, only if they're only edible for animals, it's not muksa and you can take them off. That's how Tosfos learns. Rashi learns the machlokas that they're talking about that it's not edible at all, and then that's the machlokas Beis Shammai says, okay, great. Tosfos, okay, Shlegs, welcome. So we're at the next Tosfos. We're just going through the taste of thing. We've seen the Gemara up to a certain point, up until really Gimel Amud Aleph. But we're gonna see a few more tastes in, and I hope that maybe we're gonna be able to see a riff today. If the Abish are going to say at Dishmaya.
How's this been?
Has his fin. Beis
Oh,
Hillel.
man.
Amen. Beis Hillel says that no, you have to actually, if you have these mucks of bones and shells on the table, you can't just take them off. You have to actually pick up the table and shake it like a lulav. It doesn't say shake it like a lulav, it's just shake it. So Tema says, it's a wonder. Hello, he besees the davar azar. Wait a second, this is a basis davar azar, right? If you have muksa on a table, then there is a concept. We have to learn more about it. It's called basis davar azar, and then you won't even. It's like a base. Interesting that the word in Hebrew basis is the word in English base. It's a base for something that is forbidden. It's muksa. He didn't forget them there. He put them there. He's like, yo, here's the bowl. I'm going to put it on the side and put it on the table. So you could say the Perish Rabbeinu Tam, that according to the explanation of Rabbeinu Tam, Nicha makes sense. The Perish Masechah Shabbos, Rabbeinu Tam says over there in Masechah Shabbos on Daf Nun Aleph, Amud Aleph, it says, the lo havi basis davar aser ela kishedaito nicham sham kol hayom. So Rabbeinu Tam says that it doesn't become a basis for something that's forbidden unless your intention is to leave it there all day. Inami, another explanation. Kevan dehavu sham shem ochlin havu avale basis the davar aser vila davar amuter. Because there's some chicken bones, but there's also some full chicken, and so there's food. So it's mutter, the basis of davar azar and the basis of the davar mutter. Vishari, and it's permitted like Kidamucho Paraknota, like Kupman Beis Aleph. It says Nasev Shabbos V'od, and also the Ein Zeh Miniach B'Kavana. He's not putting it there intentionally. The Ha'enu Choshesh Hechan Yiplu. It doesn't carry, like the thing that takes a whole chicken, takes it out. It's just bones. It's just the skeleton, and he chucks it. So it doesn't become Basar Kadavar Aser for a few possible reasons. Okay. So now, the next Tosfos that Amir Tashem we're going to see is, so we're learning by Shabbos, the Stam Mishnah is like Rabbi Shimon, and they say, I'll show you the Tanan because it says in a nice one. Schlegs, do you remember?
Mishnah.
Shkayach, I was asking Schlegs.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right, but it's good. Everyone got it right. We'll do another.
I'm going back into obscurity.
Khalil, you and the Rebbe's both got it right. It's just been a minute since we've seen the Ditnan Schlegs. We didn't see so many Ditnan in Bava Basra, so it's been like a couple months. Ditnan Mechatchim as a delum, you're allowed to cut the melons before an animal and the corpse before the dogs. So that sounds like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai doesn't hold the muksa. Rabbi Yehuda will be like, well, actually, I don't think you can do that because he's a malacha or something, right? Or even if it died, it is Rashi over here. We don't say it's tarcha the lav tzarich. We don't say feeding animals is like you're working that you don't need on Shabbos. Okay. Says Tosfos. By the way, guys, just want to show you guys. Yeah, we have 2 more tastes in today, but they're small ones. Okay. So Titna Mechagan is Dulu Nevehema Vias. He says, V'im Domer, if you're going to say, Hey, Chidam, what's the case? Even Dulu, which I am Mechubar and Banish Mashros. If it was, so Rashi says it was a solution. It was a melon that was already cut, detached from the earth. But the Tosfos is like, wait a second. If you're going to ask, how is it possible? What's the case? If we're talking about a melon that is attached on Banish Mashros, over there, Rabbi Shimon would of course agree. There, he said you can't have it. Why? Because if you say that, you can have it if it fell down, so then like you're afraid someone like go up on the tree and like knock it down, like clank, whoops. Even though that would be a shinoi. V'yesh lomar demari b'tolution. So you can say that they're talking about not connected tolution, which is exactly what Rashi said. Tolution. V'salga daita. We thought. So what's the question? The other mishava lehu ochlin. The v'zein kashin u'michtoch ve'achot chatoch merachech usam. So what was the Havamir? Why would I even think that it's Azur? I would think that it's Azur because before even though I'm not like detaching them, and so it's not like I'm like picking a fruit, which would be an Isser of picking a fruit, right? Tailage, I don't know. Reverend, we need that English Hebrew Malachas book, so I could think of the Malacha of Kotzer in English. Harvesting. Okay, so. But here it's already been detached, but still you might think that's usher because a melon is something which you cannot eat a melon until you cut it and eat the inside. So you might think, I'm creating a new being on Shabbos. I'm taking something which is not edible, turning it edible. Answers the Gemara, no, you could do that for the animals, according to Shimon. And you could also cut up the nevela, the carcass before the animals. Next for the dog. This was Anu Tzrichen Lefarit. You have to explain to this novel of Shabbos that it became an Avela on Shabbos. When we call Magom in any event, Tani Luhu Bahadiyadadi, they explained them like in the same Mishnah, in the same Mishnah, over here. Dava Gav, that even though B'Deluin Lo Avi time of Mishum Muksa, the animal, the melon is not because of Muksa. Shemo bin Avela, but the animal, but the carcass is. Wow. Tosfos says, even though these have different din, Yasi Shalom Aleichem, says Tosfos, even though the din of cutting up a melon has nothing to do with muksa, the question is, are you allowed to make a melon which is not edible? You cut it, you're like turning it into food. Tosfos and Rabbi Shimon says you're allowed to do that. And then when you're cutting the animal, the avobishin is nablu b'Shabbos, and it becomes an avela on Shabbos, says Rashi. The Benish Majros, it wasn't edible, right? For the dogs, because we're still alive, even though it's mutter, because there's no such thing as muksa. Rabbi Shimon says no such thing as muksa. Is that surprising to you, Yassi? When I was growing up, they never told us such a shita. They told us Yarg Vayavor. They told us Yarg Vayavor, and the only way to do kapara is by feeling bad about accidentally turning on a light after you got posh, whatever. So says Tosfos, the reason that these two cases, the melon and the nevela, are together. The nevela is a question of nolad and a question of mutter and a question of kevan. It's katzi l'erev Shabbat. The Benish Majros is katzi l'kuli yoma, and it's still mutter. So, and then you have the case of the animal that died on Shabbos. You have the case of the melon, which was detached before Shabbos. So why are they put in the same Mishnah? Says Tosfos, because you cut them both. You cut the melon, and you cut the carcass for the animal, for the dog. Okay, this might be a first, but listen, we're not gonna get excited because big time job not done. But we just did every Gemara Rashi in the first in Beis Amud Aleph. Shkaya. It's big. It's a big. It's a big mila. Okay, so yesterday we went through the Gemara and we went through the Rashi, and we got somewhere like into Beis Amud Beis. Even maybe, yeah. I think as a shear went to Beis Amud Beis. Maybe we even went further. But now we're going to do the Gemara again, and we're going to see it this time with Tosfos. So we were talking about how Stam Mishnah is like Rabbi Shimon by Shabbos, but it's like Rabbi Yehuda by Yantif. And so the Gemara says, how is such a thing possible? Right? There's by Shabbos, the Stam law in the Tana was like Rabbi Shimon. By Yantif, the Stam law in Tana is like Rabbi Yehuda, and they bring the case of cutting wood from the koros that broke on Yantif, and we say that's like Beisha, and then we say Beis Hillel, Stam Mishnah is like Rabbi Yehuda. So the word says Michti. Wait a second, let's see here. Mam Stame the Masnisin. Who is the one who said this Mishnah is going to be anonymous like Rabbi Shimon, and this one's going to be anonymous like Rabbi Yehuda? Well, it was Rabbi Yehuda. It was Rebbe. So why did Rebbe do it like this? Maishna, what's the difference on Shabbos that he said Stam like Rabbi Shimon, and what's the difference in Yantif Stam like Rabbi Yehuda? So they explained Shabbos is very chamor. People know how important Shabbos is. Now chamor Shabbos is kares. And so a person is not, if you make one thing mutter, you make one little heter on Shabbos, a person is not going to go like, and be like, oh, I guess like, and like take Shabbos like lightly, chas v'shalom. He's not going to take it cheaply. And so the Stam Mishnah is like Rabbi Shimon, that's Meiko. But Yantif, which person is like, it was not even sorry, it's just a love. So then the person's not going to take it seriously, and so they're more machmir, and the Stam Mishnah like Rabbi Yehuda, who does have this concept of muksa. Okay. So okay. There's a lot of taste system. We did like, how many taste systems did we do today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Tosfos from today. Givaldic. I'm not doing more Tosfos. We're yoyting the Tosfos. Now, and we'll get back to it, but now I want to see the riff and the run on the next part of the sugya. So the Gemara is talking about what are we dealing with here? When it says, remember, the Mishnah is Beitza Shenoda B'Yantiv, an egg which is born on Yantiv. Beishamai says, eat it. They don't eat it. And we're talking about what chicken is this? What egg? Are we talking about the egg of a chicken that we're going to eat anyways, or we're talking about the egg of a chicken that is made for keeping other eggs? And we go back and forth, and we say, and it's because of muksa, right? If you're saying that we're dealing with, it's talking about a chicken which is set up to have eggs, and the reason that they're having the argument is it muksa or not? How do you know that's the case? If that's the case, have an argument about the tarnagolas itself, about the chicken itself. And then the Gemara says, no, we want to tell you about Beis Shammai, that he even says the egg is mutter. Of course, the chicken, even the egg. They say, well, tell us that the chicken, that Beis Hillel says the egg, of course, is usher, even the chicken is mutter. Tell us how far Beis Hillel goes, where it says, if you think that, if you're going to say that, no, the reason that they're going to say the egg is to teach us the opinion that says something is mutter, which is much greater. But then you could just say both. Okay, fine. So, why don't we have the argument in both? I don't know if that's such a great question, but fine. Gemara says, Ella, rather, Amar Rabba. Rabba says, really, we're talking about an egg from a chicken that you're going to eat the chicken anyways. And we're talking about a specific case on Yantif that falls to be on Sunday. And the reason that you might not be able to do it according to Beis Hillel is because you can't prepare. You can't prepare the achana, right? Mishum achana. You have to know what you're allowed to cook on Yantif, right, Yossi? You're allowed to cook on Yantif?
Yep, definitely.
But Rabba has the opinion that you have to, and it might even be that more people have his opinion. You have to do something called hachana. You have to know what is the food that I have. You can't get more food, and someone else can bring food, but you can't. You have to say, okay, I have this many chickens, this many eggs, and another egg materializes. It's like preparation for Yantiv because it's the Yantiv is the day after Shabbos, and so that egg was gestating in the tummy of the chicken, and so it was getting ready on Shabbos, and so you're preparing on Shabbos for Yantiv. Wild far, but that's the reason that Rabbah says, and I think this is how the Rif Paskins. We're gonna have to see. Rabba and Rabba holds that every egg that is born now, from yesterday, it was completed. The Rabba Litame, and Rabba goes according to his reasoning, because Rabba says, my difference, what does it mean when it says and it was on the 6th day? As Asher Yaviu. They prepare what you can bring. Shligs, can we get an English translation on that pasuk? It's in Shemos, Tes Zayin Hey.
What's the pasuk? Shmos Tes Zayin Hey?
Yes. And so it says that on Chol, on the weekday, you can prepare for Shabbos, and weekday you can prepare for Yantif. But you can't prepare on Yantif for Shabbos or on Shabbos for Yantif. Amarle Abaye says to him, wait a second, so now what about if an egg is just born on Yantif? It should be mutter. There's no reason to make, right? The Mishnah is saying it's usher for a case that Shabbos goes into Yantif, but if it's just born on Yantif, it should be mutter. There's no,
you can't prepare for Shabbos. People do that though.
What?
People prepare for Yom Tov with Shabbos.
I got Zalman's question from yesterday. What people prepare? Yeah, that's what we're gonna learn. Hopefully, maybe even in this Masechta of how it's possible. I think you have to make like some sort of erev tavshilin, erev tchumim,
Extra shield, right?
erev tavshilin, right? And so you make an erev tavshilin, and that is a way that you can prepare. But ordinarily, the halacha is that you're not allowed to prepare. And this is talking in a case where you didn't make an erev tavshilin. How do I know you didn't make an erev tavshilin? Because you weren't even planning. You didn't know an egg was going to be born. And so it's, and then on Yom Tov, anyways, it's a gezerah because of Yom Tov after Shabbos. And why don't you permit an egg that's born on Shabbos? It's a gezerah because of Shabbos after Yom Tov. Do we make such a gezerah? But what about the egg that is found in the tummy of the chicken? Say that you can't have the egg that's found in the tummy of a chicken because of the egg that's born on Yom Tov. People can get it confused. Says the Gemara, that's not a usual case. And since it's not a usual case that the egg will get caught in the stomach of the chicken, again you'll check the chicken and find the eggs. So Chazal say in that case you can eat the eggs. You don't have to make a gezerah about something that is very infrequent. Okay.
The pasuk.
The parts of.
The pasuk.
Oh, let me hear it.
V'haya bayom hashishi v'hechinu. Esa sherviu v'haya mishnah al asher yilkutu yom.
Yeah.
But on the
English?
sixth day, when they apportion what they have brought in, it shall prove to be double the amount they gather each day.
Talking about the man.
Yes.
Givaldic. So we see that you prepare on Chol for Shabbos, but you don't prepare on Shabbos for Shabbos and not on Shabbos for Yom Tov. Okay. So now we are going to learn the Rif and maybe the Ran, and we'll see what happens. David, still give us Yad D'Shmaya. Get out of here, Big Ton. All right, there's a little bug. Okay, so the Gemara says, what are we dealing with? If you're going to, and so now the way that the Rif works is he quotes over the Gemara, but only the things that we pass can like. So he gets rid of all the questions and answers and sugyas. You know, what are we dealing with? If you're going to say that we're dealing with the chicken that is Ahmed is Lachila, so what would be the reason for Beitza Hillel? It's also the if for us, it's food that came out of food. What's the problem? Rather, we're talking about a chicken that is there for eating eggs, for making eggs, for growing eggs, laying eggs. My time I have to base Shammai is muksa. What's the reason for base Shammai is muksa? So then we started asking all these questions. The Rif skips all the questions, and the Gemara went back and forth, a bunch of different opinions. We saw Rabbi Nachman, we saw this guy, we saw that guy. We skipped it all. The Ugmar Rabbah says the Rif. He goes right to the where we paskin the halacha. And Rabbah establishes it. It's talking about a tarnagolas haomedes la'achila. It's a chicken that is set up, established for eating. So what's the case? So what? So it's not a problem of muksa. Muksa is not the issue. The issue is it's talking about yontif that falls out to be on Sunday, and the problem is hachana. So what's the hachana? That the egg was growing inside the tummy of the chicken. The Kasava Rabbah and Rabbah holds kol Beitza, every egg the misyaledes ha'idna that is born now may etmol gomrala. From yesterday it was completed. Rabbah litame. Rabbah going to his reasoning to Amar Rabbah, because Rabbah says the haya bayom hashishi, and it wasn't the sixth day. Yichinu, they prepared. Chol mechin the Shabbos. The chol mechin the yantif. Chol you can prepare for Shabbos. Chol you can prepare for yantif. The ain't yantif mechin the Shabbos. Look at this. We're already on top dollar in the Rif.
7 men.
Perfect. The ain't Shabbos mechin the yantif. And Shabbos cannot prepare for Yantif. So then Abaye says, wait, but nowadays Yantif, and they go through the whole shock of Italian in the Gemara. I wanted to see a Ran. Okay, let's just see this Ran. The Ran on the Gemara, it says, what are we dealing with? Elim, but then it goes, Sheina Muksa, it's not Muksa. So that's Ukla Davrazu. Ukla that comes from his friend. Vein Asher Mishum Nolad Da Chazi I Balgal Lemai Davi Chazi Kula, right? It's a, what if you have food that you're allowed to eat, and then food falls out of it. You can eat both of them. You can eat the food. Ella, rather, you're talking about a tarnagolas that is you're allowed to eat it. So then why would they say that it's going to grow eggs? And so why are you allowed to eat it? The Rabbi says mutter to eat it, but it's muksa. The ikal medak, you can come in and infer. Shlegs, you found the ref. Looks like this. It says the ikal medak, you can infer the hachamash, but the cave of the tarnagol is muksa. Have a Beitza nigres acharel. He said, listen, the chicken is muksa, so the egg is also pulled after the ilu lekama mishvaitim. But later on in the akshina, we're going to ask Elmi Ata. But wait a second, right now Shabbos to Alma history. You should let it be permissible on Shabbos, anyways. The hahasam tarnagolas muktis machmas is there shchita, but over there, how should the egg be permissible to eat on Shabbos? The chicken is also to eat on Shabbos because you're not allowed to shecht it on Shabbos. But even so, ilav mishum gezerah. If it wasn't for this decree, havi sharina and Beitza, we would have said the egg would have been okay. So you can infer that. Okay. Ubeperik Chavis in the Gemara Shabbos Nami Achimash, but implies this also. Damrina and Hasam, because we say over there, Cholev Adam Eiz Letocha Kadera. A person can make goat's milk. He can get goat's milk into the thing that he's cooking. Sheyesh Ba'ochel, into a Kadera, into a pot that already has food in it. Mishum dekevan dahavi le'mashke haba le'ochel kashiv ka'ochel. So since it is like liquid, do you guys see anything of this even working? I'll just keep it. I'll just do it like this actually. Since you have Kivan dahavale mashke abal ochel, it comes for food. The drink comes for food. It's considered food, like food. And then, but wait a second. But you can't. So you can use on Shabbos. You can milk. You can milk a goat right into the breakfast cereal, right? But wait a second. But you're not allowed to eat the goat itself. The goat itself is muksa because you can't eat it. But even so, lo mitzar chalva. Mishum leta mishum lesa diada. So even though like you can't eat the you can't shech, and on Shabbos you can shech this goat, but still it's not muster to eat the chalav because of leta dida. I don't know what that is. Yesh lomar dechi bargina haka ma'itay ma'yu de beishamai. They're asking here, what's the reason for Shammai Muksa? It was Muksa, Midin Nolad, Asin Allah. Because of the Koshu Nolad Vadai, Kuliyama Modu Bay. We thought to say that everyone agrees that you can't have Nolad. Kidemuchach Begemara, like it says in the Gemara, Gemoshe Kasavti, like the Ran says, like I wrote, Bechidushe, in my Chidushim. So we have to see Tosfos and Rashi and what are the different types of nolad. It's not even food anymore. When you're saying that this is an egg hen, it doesn't even consider food at all. The Beitza Shala and its egg, afilu afalpi shehu ochel gomer, is completely food. You think I'm going to eat it Erev Shabbos when it's born? Al korchach, against your will, it's still considered nolad. Umitzar, and it's azar. Tahajdahu demishavi ochel. Where does that olive go to? That olive over here, it goes to the shemen lemeor, you guys. Or it goes. It
2
goes,
min.
okay. It goes, we don't even know where it goes to the Hasakas arrive it. Aval Tarnagola Medes Lachila, but the chicken which is going to be eaten, Mishum Isser Shabbos Lo Yatusab Mitoras Ochel. But the chicken which is going to be eaten, but you can't because it's Shabbos doesn't mean that it's not food. The Isura who Derivia Alayu. It's Isser is riding on it. Ka'arye Alma, like Isser's riding on it like a lion in the world. Wow, it's a wild run. Hilda, therefore, low midstar, it's not usher because of muksa. Ella, the asira aval bait. The chicken itself is usher because you get shafted, but the Beitza, the egg, the low nestra, me'ola was never usher. It's sharia. We would have that mean put there if it wasn't for the gezerah. The chalav adam owes the goat's milk, the toch kader, to the chicken milk. We're dealing with the goat that you're going to want to eat, and because of this, nay, granted, the oz mitzvah machmas Israel Shabbos, but the chalva is lo nesar ba'olam, but the chicken, but the milk, you can always take, because even on Shabbos, because even though you can never shech the goat, but still you can't do it because it's Shabbos, but it didn't leave the Torah's ochlin. But on Yandiv, the chicken that you say specifically uses chicken to have eggs, it leaves the Torah's oichlin according to the Ran. And so that's the difference. That's the difference between the chicken and the goat, the egg and the milk. A very, very long dish Ran. Ripping through a riff and running through a Ran. Ripping through a riff.